How to buy your first horse. Buying a horse is a big decision. Before you buy, get all the information you can about horses generally and about the specific horse you're interested in. Talk to a friend or colleague who has experience with horses and, together, visit horses that you're interested in buying. Your first horse should be an experienced mare or gelding with an easygoing personality. Once you've located a horse you want, have it checked out by a vet and seal the deal with a legally binding contract. Method 1. Getting ready to buy a horse. 1. Enroll in riding lessons. If you haven't had riding lessons before, you'll need to take some. Lessons from a professional horse trainer will provide you with the how to stay safe and confident when riding your horse. Check the American Riding Instructors Association for a detailed database of riding instructors near you. Community education and smaller, rural colleges often offer high-quality horse riding programs. Ask your instructor lots of questions. If there's anything you're unsure or confused about, rely on your riding instructor's expertise to help guide you. Get the instructor's advice about which saddle is right for you, as well. Get private lessons, not group lessons. That way you'll get more personalized attention to your riding style and habits. If you can't locate a professional horse trainer, you should at least link up with someone who is familiar with horse riding who can give you ongoing, detailed lessons. 2. Decide where you're going to house your horse. Horses need their space. You should have a clean, comfortable stable where your horse can be housed comfortably. A barn with an individual stable is the best bet. Alternately, you might be able to convert a large shed into a personalized stable for your horse. If necessary, build a small barn for it. Your horse's pen should open onto a large fenced-in space where the horse can trot, and where you can practice riding. Do not buy a horse in an urban space. 3. Get a farrier. A farrier is someone who makes and fits horseshoes. Horseshoes are important for protecting your horse's hooves. Having a good farrier will keep your horse's hooves healthy and strong. Get advice from your riding instructor or veterinarian about where to find a good farrier. 4. Learn to read horse ads. Horse ads have their own language. For instance, you should look for a horse described as bomb-proof, meaning that it is not easily startled. You should avoid horses described as Gymkhana Prospect or Endurance Prospect. These terms, as well as Barrel Prospect, indicate the horse is hyperactive and difficult to control. Other, more obvious keywords that you want in a horse include steady, reliable, and calm. Horses described as serviceably sound may have health problems. 5. Decide your budget. Horses can be expensive. Thoroughbred racehorses can cost upwards of $50,000. However, you should never invest such a sum in your first horse. Even a racehorse can be purchased for much less, closer to $35,000. If you're purchasing a horse simply for fun and taking pleasure rides, you'll probably be able to get a good starter horse for around $5,000. The actual purchase price of your horse, however, is just a small part of your total budget. You'll also need to factor in several other costs which vary depending on your area, including training, riding lessons, insurance if you want a racehorse, farrier, veterinary care, feed, equipment, saddle, tack, stabling costs, trailer hitch if you intend to travel with your horse. 6. Learn everything you can about horses. Educate yourself on their health, care, feeding, and other habits. The more knowledge you have about horses, the better equipped you'll be to make an informed decision when you're ready to buy. Although nothing can compare to hands-on experience, arming yourself with knowledge beforehand can help you avoid common first-time horse buyer mistakes. Once you've learned all you can, decide if you're ready to own a horse. A horse is not like a fish or other small pet that needs minimal care and attention. Horses need lots of love and affection, and adequate space to run and gallop, and lots of food. Depending on the age of the horse, it might also need training. Be sure you can provide these things before buying a horse. Method 2: Selecting the right qualities for your horse. 1. Buy an older horse. Many first-time horse buyers imagine that it would be great if the horse they buy can learn along with them. However, horses that have already been trained and are familiar with people will cause the least problems for you. Younger horses, on the other hand, can be rambunctious, finicky, and difficult to handle. If you're buying a horse for a child, a good rule of thumb is that the age of the child and the age of the horse should add up to 20. For instance, if your child is 10, the horse should also be about 10. 2. Get an experienced horse. While age and experience usually go together in horses, they don't always. An experienced horse, one that has been ridden and trained already, will be more amenable to a new owner. Avoid buying a horse advertised as green or in need of finishing. These are horse riding euphemisms for inexperienced horses. 3. Get a gelding or mare. A gelding, a castrated male horse, might be your best bet. Horse owners find that they are more predictable than mares. A mare could also make a good first horse, but they tend to become difficult to handle during menstruation. Evaluate each animal based on its own merits. Whatever you do, never select a stallion for your first horse, as they tend to be too wild and unruly for novice horse riders. If a mare is advertised as in foal, it means they are pregnant. Do not buy a pregnant mare, as a foal will be an extra expense for you, and you won't be able to ride the mare until some time has passed after it gives birth. Method 3: Purchasing your horse. 1. Find a reputable seller. You can typically buy a horse from the person you get riding lessons from. If your instructor doesn't sell horses, ask if they know someone who does. Talk to friends and colleagues who own horses and find out if they're happy with their horse. If they are, ask them to recommend the person who sold them their horse. As a last resort, if you're still having trouble locating a seller, check the classifieds in your local paper or online at Craigslist and similar sites. Use Equine Legal Solutions checklist at 2. Have someone check the horse out with you. Just as you would when buying a car, it's a good idea to bring along someone who knows what to look for when buying your first horse. Bring a trusted friend or family member with you to look over the horse or horses you're thinking of buying. They'll help evaluate. The horse's gait should be measured and regular. The horse's temperament: the horse should not bolt out of the gate as soon as you open it, and should not twitch or shy away when groomed or touched. How well a particular horse would suit you based on your build: a bigger person needs a bigger horse, and vice versa. The horse's general health and activity level should be inquisitive, alert, and playful, but obedient. 3. Have a vet look the horse over. Before you buy the horse, it's important to ensure it is healthy. Buying a sick horse means you'll end up making a greater investment in medicine and veterinary care than you need to. Don't have the seller's vet look the horse over for you, even if they offer to throw it in for free. You might not get an objective evaluation. Instead, choose your own vet to look the horse over. 4. Arrange a trial period to try out your first horse. Horses sometimes act differently when they are taken away from their home stables. You can often lease a horse for 6 months or more. Use this trial period to learn more about the horse's temperament, habits, and personality. If you want to arrange for a shorter lease, ask the owner for a lease period that suits you. Shorter leases of 7 to 30 days could be possible. The owner may want a written agreement and may ask you to supply insurance on the horse. They may also want to inspect the space where the horse will be kept. You might be able to lease a horse from your riding instructor. 5. Avoid buying a horse online. On the internet, you can buy almost anything, including horses. Many people check out horses they might want to buy via online videos and pictures. However, as a first-time buyer, you do well to buy a horse locally. As you gain more experience with horses and horse buying, you might choose to buy a horse online. If you do buy a horse online, always make a trip out to see the horse with a veterinarian before finalizing the purchase. 6. Avoid buying at auction. If a horse is sold at an auction, it's usually because the owner couldn't sell it in a private sale. This means that the horse is lame, sick, or too old to be sold to experienced and knowledgeable buyers. Plus, buying a horse at an auction means you won't get to ride it or get much sense of its temperament before making the purchase. If you choose to buy a horse at an auction anyway, be sure you know what you're getting into. Check the terms and conditions of the sale. Most horses at auction sales are sold as is, meaning you won't be able to make a return if you don't like it. Read the documentation for the horse at the auction. Auctions usually provide X-rays and a veterinarian's report on the animal for potential buyers. Read it carefully so you can make an informed decision. Familiarize yourself with the auction's dispute procedures. This way, if you do decide to pursue a return, you'll know how to do so. 7. Draw up a contract. As with any significant transaction, you should draw up a contract with the seller. The contract must include the sale price, warranties, and any other stipulations made by you or the seller. You should both sign and date every page of both your copies. If the horse's owner has sold horses before, you can use their contract, but look it over with a lawyer or with someone you trust who has bought horses before. Tips: Be patient when looking for a first horse, and avoid impulse purchases. Warnings: Do not buy a horse without inspecting it firsthand with someone who is knowledgeable about horses. Do not base your decision about which horse to buy based on its color. You probably won't find a horse with the coloring you want that also has all of the more important attributes relating to good health and temperament. Plus, horses with exceptional coats will probably cost more.